was already, or as I was saying earlier on, the good thing about Peardeck is it gives you lots of different view options. So this is the projector view, which is fantastic when you've got like this, a setup where you can have one thing on the projector and another thing on your screen. I think most projectors and most computers in the school are set up so that you can have that dual display. If not, it's a little bit trickier. You might have to have like another device to view what I've got here, the session dashboard. But again, just to give you a quick show you what I'm looking at. So I've got this, which shows me that, and then it shows me down inside who's joined and what they're doing. I used this morning with my Year 11s, and I recorded the whole thing. So if you want to see what I did with my Year 11s this morning, I'll upload that later on. I might edit it to show you a highlight reel, as it were. Alright, great. So, there's Peardeck. When you set it up, when you hit present, it gives you that screen, or that is one of the options. You can show that, say to your class, alright, there's the address, there's the code, go for it, and then you see exactly what you can see in front of you at the moment. And then it's all down to you from there on. So after that, it just runs like any other presentation, but first, a little couple of icebreaker things here. So this is Scotland. On that, you've got to, just so I can get an idea of your general knowledge of Scotland's geography. On this map, drag your dot to where you think Falkirk is found. I would promise not to be offended. It's definitely in the green bit.
Just trying to
It is in Braveheart, actually. William Wallace got his backside handed to him at the Battle of Falkirk.
It was also Battle of Stirling, so I've sort of gone around there.
It was. That was King Robert the Bruce. He won. That was one of the few battles that he actually won.
Was the one in the riding at the end.
Well, sorry, the Battle of Bannockburn, which is right next to Stirling. We won that one.
Okay.
The Battle of Falkirk, both times we got smashed. These things happen.
At least you're here to tell a tale.
Yep, that's it.
So can you see how many people were you just sort of giving you a bit of time?
This is just what everyone else sees. I can see that. I can see who's chosen their response and who hasn't, and then I can politely prompt people to make their choice, just drag it anywhere. So, Arwen, is your computer just still loading up?
Yeah, oh no, I'm good. I've chosen where I'm.
Alright, okay, great. So, once you're happy, you can lock it down so no one can answer afterwards.
So,
when I used this morning with my Year 11s, we were doing exam prep. I said, right, this question is worth 1 mark, so that's roughly about a minute. You've got a minute, go. After the minute, I locked it, they couldn't answer anymore. And then, once you've done that, you can show the student responses. And so, you can't see who's said what, but when I move my mouse over it, I can see that the closest, some people, Diana, Les, Jenny, Ded, and Chelsea, we're all pretty close. Some others not so close. That's definitely not it. Falkirk is pretty much here, a bit there, yeah. In between Edinburgh and Glasgow, close to Stirling. It's not in the Western Isles. My accent's not that thick. Every sentence doesn't sound like it's a question from over here. Just no. That's not so bad. There, you're pretty close to England. Alright, and the next little icebreaker. Which, or what is the national animal of Scotland? This is a haggis.
Oh, yeah.
By the way. So, multiple choice. Take your pick. This is, yeah, haggis isn't a real animal. It's kind of like the Scottish version of a drop bear. But when I googled haggis, I got lots of pictures of that. So someone has made up what a haggis looks like. You used to catch people out saying that haggis or haggai is the plural. Found on the top of mountains, and they've got 2 legs short than the other because they just run around in circles. it does look a little bit like a haggis because it's kind of round and it's got stripes down it, but haggis isn't real food. So just a couple of people left to make their response, and I'm going to lock it down in 3, 2, 1. All right, so let's see what people chose. Nobody for haggis.
Unicorn.
Good. Stag seems reasonable. Nah, it's a unicorn.
Oh.
Well done, David. The Scottish national animal is a unicorn.
No, and I was laughing at him because I knew he chose it.
Yeah. And again,
So
I
was that
can.
more arts than class, or did you actually know?
I thought I initially went staggers. Sorry, stags. I initially went stags, and I thought no. I think it's just.
So you genuinely thought that? You
I
didn't
was
just do it
quite
as a joke?
confident with unicorn, and I was a little bit worried when this came out.
So, and the good thing is, no one can see who said what. So if you're ashamed of your response, you don't have to own up to it. I can see who said what.
How does it,
And ridicule them.
You took your name chance.
John, how does it look on that screen? Do you sort of hover over the circle?
Yeah, when I move my
pops up?
cursor over the circle,
Yeah.
on the left-hand side, it's got all the names and it highlights the name of that particular person who's, so like that.
We've only got
It's not the easiest.
11 or
scroll
whatever
direction.
in here, Mike. Kim, what happens if you've got a class of 28? I assume it scrolls?
Yeah, you can scroll. And if you've got written responses, you can scroll up and down all of them as well, because obviously that's going to take up a lot of space. So yeah. Alright, so that was just a little bit of fun showing you a little bit about how Peardeck works. I'll come back to that later on. So today I'm going to be talking about how to use Google Plus and Peardeck in the classroom, give you an overview of how I've used Google Plus anyways with my classes, and then how I've used Peardeck as a formative assessment tool. Just to make this clear, I'm not an expert, I've been playing around with these things, and it's worked pretty well so far, and yeah, so this isn't how you should do things, this is just how I do things, and you may want to try it out, maybe not, do different things, whatever, and if you've got questions I'll try and answer them as well. So, a bit of rationale behind it. I think Google Plus is a fantastic tool for all sorts of online collaboration with your class and in amongst your class as well, and the potential for it is huge. There are so many things you could be using it for, it just takes a little bit of getting used to with it. And then with regards to Peardeck, I thought I'll put a little quote in from some paper to make it seem as if I've done my research on these things. But you know, formative assessment when I was in Scotland was a huge thing that they were pushing on us all the time, and so we've had it drilled into us that formative assessment is the future. I like it a lot. I do a lot of different formative assessment strategies, but I think Peardeck is the easiest to use and the most interactive, fun way to do it. It's really engaging. So using formative assessment lets teachers reflect on how your pupils are doing, and you can change your lesson plans to accordingly. Peardeck is just a really great way to do that, but there's also all sorts of other ways you can do it. I just like using computers. So today I'm going to show you how to set up G+ communities or Google Plus communities as a collaborative classroom tool, how to use Google Plus Hangouts, and then how I've used Peardeck as a formative assessment tool. You've already kind of seen a bit of that. And again, feel free just to ask any questions that you have. So the first thing, this is just a kind of quick overview of Google Plus for those that haven't used it or only have a kind of cursory knowledge of it. Google Plus is Google's version of Facebook or a social network. It's, if you are used to things like Twitter or Facebook, it can seem a little bit hard to get into because it's got a different layout to it. But it's got a lot of similarities as well. But the main things, the basic things that will help you get around is when you log in using your school account, you get this screen. So this is like your news feed where all the people you follow or any communities you're part of, those posts appear there. You can scroll up and down, read them, put comments on them, etc. You've got, it gives you suggestions of people you may know. So these are my delightful year 10s who are all on this, suggesting that I add them. I tell my pupils that I don't really want to see what they get up to at the weekends, and anyways, if they want to use this as a social network, they don't use their school account for it because chances are they'll end up in trouble. Like I say, that's the news feed there. your notifications is that little bell object you see away over there. Hangouts, I'll talk more about those later on, but they can appear down the side or you can make that disappear. And the menu. So this isn't always visible. It only shows up when you put your cursor over that little button, then all that pops up. So it's not... making your way around Google Plus can be a little tricky until you realise that kind of basic layout and get used to it. And posts. You've got a box here where you can make your posts. You can put videos, links, photos, and make events from it. But if you scroll down, that disappears. There's another one over there, the share button, that lets you do just the same thing. Communities. So G+ has got thousands of communities for everything. But the thing I've used it for is to make up my own communities for my classes. So I've got a separate one for each year level. So I've got my year 10 one, year 11, just made a year 9 one a couple of days ago. I've got one for my debaters, made one for the McKinnon Science faculty. 3 members there, we're all right into it. One of them's me. And then I've made another one as well that I'm going to show you how to make it. So one of the good things about G+ is that, and Peardeck and Google Slides, is you can embed YouTube videos. Because you're using Google accounts already, your YouTube's already good to go. A couple of clicks, it's all set up. Once you've done that, any videos you make go straight up to your own YouTube channel. From there, it's a case of just clicking on a few buttons and you can embed videos into your Google presentations or your slides. You can put it up on G+, and Peardeck has a feature where you can embed YouTube videos as well. So this little video here is one that I made up in 3 minutes and 41 seconds yesterday.
You need to make a community, you just click on the menu.
Alright, so that's embedded in there. I'm going to play this. This is... I've made up a few different little screencasts. I'll tell you a little bit about what programs you can use if you want, but it's really rough. You don't need to make it all singing, all dancing with music and fireworks and dancing bears. You can make it as fancy or as simple as you want. So I'll just show you this, and this will be available for everyone to watch later on, so if it goes too fast.
Choose communities.
Catch up.
And then when it loads up, you'll see all the communities that you've either created or the ones that you've joined. So what we want to do is we want to look for this blue button that says Create Community. Click on that. Now here you're given the option, you can either restrict it to just the school or have it available to the public and outside the school. So I'm going to restrict this one to the school. Hit Next. So you can make it open so anyone can join from the school, or just keep it private. So you've got to invite people. So let's make this one private. And you have to choose a name for it. We'll call this the McKinnon Secondary College Teaching Community. Then you can choose whether or not people can find it in a search. Yes, they can. Create the community. And once that's done, you can't change that. Okay, so once you set the privacy, that's it. Once you get that, you've got options, and it leads you through. You've got to make up what the community is about, add a tagline, put a photo for it, fill out what it's about, and any guidelines. If you're setting up with class, it might be a good idea to put some guidelines in, detailing appropriate use. You can put different categories into the discussion so that you can have just a discussion for questions and related classwork, and then another page just for general discussion. So you can fill all that in. I'm just going to hit done for the sake of it at the moment. Just can fill that stuff in. Once you've done all that, you can then invite people to the community. So this is where you would put in a comment saying something like, hello, welcome to the McKinnon Secondary College Teaching Community. Here we can discuss and share useful tips or techniques we've been using in class. Then you choose who you want to send it to. Now, if you've already got your class on G+, you can find them from that. What you might find easier is to go in, click on that button at the side, and that lets you browse for people. So this is people that I've been in contact with on my emails and things like that. Or then you've got just everyone that's on G+ down here, where you can choose circles down the left hand side. So let's just say if you've got a class that you know are on G+, you could search for it, press that, done. Now, this is the tricky part. If the class or those people aren't on G+, you can't invite them, so you need to get them involved in that first. And once they're on it, you can add them to it. Alright, so I'm just going to cancel that for a second. So that's all set up, and it's all good to go. You're ready to start adding links, putting photos up, making videos or events and things like that. Alright, so yeah, a little video just explaining how to make communities. Just, I could have showed you, but I just wanted to show you how easy it is to make videos. That literally took me about 5 minutes yesterday. Don't know if you could tell, it wasn't scripted, completely off the cuff. But you can see it's really straightforward and easy to make. Might not be the nicest, and there's a lot of ums and uhs and it's very monotone, but you get the idea. Alright, so setting up a community. Once you've done that, there's lots of things you can do with it. You can post links to news articles or websites, you can put videos up. The nice thing about G+ is that when you want to add a video, instead of having to go to YouTube, find the video, paste the link in, it's already got a little YouTube search bar built into it, and you can preview the videos from there. So it's a kind of one-stop shop. You don't need to go all over the internet looking for your videos. You can do Hangouts. I'll talk more about them later on, or post screencasts. You can make events for important dates. So when I've had tests coming up, I'll make an event and I'll invite my community or my class to it, and that just lets them know, and they get little reminders. And you always get a few cheeky little people who say no, they won't be at the test. That's always hilarious when that happens. And if you plan like online study sessions, again, you can make an event and invite them to do that. And most importantly, you can encourage your pupils to do the same thing. And that's kind of what I've been doing. This is where my technology might come back to me on the backside. Let's see. Right, so I'll just quickly go over to Google Plus and show you what I've been doing. Alright, that's...
So do we have to download that, like go to the App Store or whatever it's called?
No, you just go to the internet and...
It's in the email. Okay. Alright. Okay, thank you.
Let me just
Yeah,
bring
it's
this.
just the one on your desk. Okay, this one.
There we go. Alright. Hopefully I've not lost my Peardeck thing there. We'll see. Alright, so here is what I see when I log into G+, a news feed. Somebody's asking if I've got their iPod. There you go, they're posting to the community. So you go into communities. And so to give you an example, some of the things that my year 10s have been doing, my year 10s have been quite good with this. So they've been asking if I've got their iPod, we've got a test coming up, or they've sat a test, they're putting up links to help each other out with the revision. They're asking questions about it. I also asked them to maybe put a comment about how they like Peardeck on there. You can post relevant things to it, so try and encourage women to get involved in different science things. I think it's quite important, so I just shared that. They're asking more questions, and then videos. So they're sharing videos with each other to show, or to elaborate on concepts. There's always time for a meme. This is what I really like actually. Both Mark and Conrad, they made up their own revision materials and shared it with both my Year 10 classes via G+. So it's a great way to get them to work with each other. The little +6 just means that 6 people have, it's kind of like the G+ version of liking something. So, and then you can share it with other people as well, if you want. Click on it, you've got all that stuff. There's Conrad, he's made his little. And because they're using Google Apps, it all just stays in there. It's all part of it, it's all integrated, and it all works really nicely. So yeah, that's some of the things my Year 10s have been doing. My Year 11s. Where is that? There it is. So my Year 11s, last week they did little revision sessions using different techniques before a test. I recorded it using a flip camera, put it up there so that they can all embarrass each other later on with it. And again, they were bribed to say things about Peardeck. But they did seem to enjoy it this morning. Yeah, Steve. Top here on there. This little plus thing, that's just like linking someone into that so that they get a little notification telling they've been mentioned. Little videos that I've taken. When you upload it, it gives you like this kind of little animated image, so you don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't want. Again, something else they've been doing. This is a screencast I made up, just in the same way that I showed you that one earlier, or a few minutes ago. Same idea, but it's embedded into the community, so they can watch that whenever they want. They can go to the YouTube page where it is. More links that I've put up and whatnot. My Year 11s aren't as good as my Year 10s at using this, but they are they're getting better. And then there's another revision thing that I did earlier on. So yeah, that's just some of the stuff I've been doing. And you can see there I've got a notification for someone looking for an iPod. I would think. So let's hopefully I've not lost my.
Do you get an email every time you get an email?
You can get an email if you want.
Can you make it so you, like I keep getting lots of emails.
If you turn notifications off, no more
Actually,
emails.
how do I get rid of these?
They drive me crazy.
So yeah,
Is there any junk in Google? Like,
Yeah, there's a.
you know every day about the language versions, which is great, but I don't really know about it. Is there? Sorry.
no, it's alright. If you don't want emails from G+, whenever someone likes, comments or something you've done, just turn off notifications. I've got the app on my phone anyways, so that I get a notification through that, but it's less annoying than having it fill up my inbox. Alright, so let me see if I can.
At least the language perfect are finished.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright, so going back to my little Peardeck.
Good luck at a spam, so it would go straight to the spam. Sure.
So, one of the drawbacks of using this is that it can be, when you lose it, it can be difficult to find, but I think that's just a Mac problem rather than like anything else. Alright, so yeah, that's some of the things you can do on a community. Lots of potential, it's just a case of giving it a go, trying it out, experimenting with things, and asking your pupils what they want. I did a little survey just to say, what would you like to see more of? They told me that they'd like to see more videos, more screencasts, more links from YouTube, things like that. Other than that, they're quite happy with it. One thing they did say was they're not too familiar with the layout of G+, so that's kind of put them off a little bit. So I've been trying to cover all that. Yeah, alright. So the next thing is using a Hangout on Air. This is a little bit trickier to set up, but it's pretty good. If I can, instead of making you watch the video, I shall bring that down there and go back to, if I can find. Google Plus back up. So this is, I think, the most powerful tool on Google Plus. Oh, that's not all. It's called a Hangout on Air. All it really is a glorified video call. To do it, go to the menu, go down to Hangouts. So Hangouts can be a few different things. It can be a conversation, a type conversation between you, pupil, member of staff, a group of pupils. These year 10s seem to think it'd be a hilarious thing to add a teacher to their group conversation, and there have been a few detentions issued as a result. If somebody you know is having a video hangout, it will appear there. You can host your own, and up to 10 people can join that and all chat to each other at once, which is great for kind of small scale things. If you want your entire class to be able to watch you doing something, you need to do a hangout on air. So once you do that, this is like setting up an event. So give it a name. Test. Test. Tell people what it's about. So if you're doing a revision session, you might tell them what you're covering in that, and then you can set up the time. You can do it straight away, or you can do it later on. Let's just say I'm going to do it at 7 o'clock. It can run for 30 minutes. You don't need to do it for 30 minutes. No one's going to be mad at you if you don't. But that's just the minimum time you can use, or say it's going to be. You can either make it public, so that anyone in the entire world can watch you and join in, or you can add your community. So earlier on, I set up that staff community. So let's just say we're going to add that there. There we are. So in addition to the public being able to view it, everyone in that community is able to view it. When you've done that, you hit share. And then it takes you to this page. So this is where you can kind of fine-tune the details of it. You can switch on this thing called Q&A, which I think is great. Before the hangout, if you're going to be covering certain topics, the kids can ask questions, and you know that you can address them throughout the video. Or as you're speaking, they can ask questions, and then you can address them later on. Over on the right-hand side, it tells you who's hosting it, who's been invited, what time it's at, and it gives you a link to it. So there's the YouTube page, so you show up on. As soon as you finish that hangout, it appears on YouTube. You don't need to do anything. It's just there. That's the link to it. You can put that link on your community page. You can put it on a website. You can email it to people, whatever you want to do. There's a link for the event page as well. Down here it tells you, if it's passed, it tells you who's watched it. So I've got 3 people watching it, including myself. Which is nice. Thanks, guys. And then, importantly, you've got other options like who can comment, who can invite, who can add photos. You can edit it, kick people off if you don't want them on it, or delete the event. So I'll go and delete that later on. I'm not actually doing it. And then, once that's all set up, you just hit start. But don't panic, that's not starting straight away. You can still set up everything else. So that's what you get afterwards. And that's going to show you me from a very unflattering angle very shortly. It takes a little while to load up. Just going to step to the side so I can prepare myself. What about that sporting event? Huh? I really thought that other team were going to win, but when that team won, it was, they were the better team. Again, you can invite people if you want. If you don't have to, you can just make it open to the world. I'm going to skip that. If you shouldn't really need people to be 18 plus to join this. If you do, I wouldn't use your school account. So that's what you see. Down in the bottom right, you've got you. As people join it, their pictures will show up. If you click on them, and this is the mistake I made in the first hangout I ever did, I clicked on a pupil, and for the next half hour, whilst I was talking over the top and referring to a PowerPoint, everyone was looking at poor Lachlan. So be careful with that. Don't click on anyone you don't want to click on. You've got the start broadcast button down there. at first it takes a little while just to load up, and when it's ready to go, it changes to start broadcast. There are little green dots show the microphone's working, and also tells you it's off air. And then you've got some other options. The main ones that are interesting are all down the left hand side. So you can click on the chat, people can chat throughout your video call down the side. Another good one is the screen share.
So Mike, is it always mirror image?
Good question.
Write anything on the board?
I'm not sure. However, if you want to write stuff on the board, webcams aren't going to be a great option. I don't know if it's mirrored or not.
You can see
You can see
through.
the back of
You
it.
can see
Yeah.
the background.
I don't know
yeah.
if it will always be like that, like if you were watching it, if it will be the same. That's a very good question.
Ah.
But then, come on. What's that?
It's just a flicked classroom.
Screen share.
Oh, that was very good.
Alright, this is giving up the ghost. That's not cool. Anyway, I did make a video of this so you can watch it on later. I'll just tell you what you've got here. So that's the screen share option. If you've got PowerPoint that you want to talk through, alright. So yeah, this is the Q&A app then. When you do this, it downloads the little app. So it may be a good idea, before you start broadcasting, download all the necessary apps. It doesn't take long, and you can see down the right hand side. So I can select that question, and everyone will be able to see that that's the question I'm talking about. No is the answer, and then you're moving on. So that's nice.
More a comment that's like,
Indeed. But I like that comment, so I'm going to give a little, if I can, give a little plus one. Yeah, you can also delete the question.
Ah.
Sorry, Ringo. We all like breakfast, though, that's true. Let's go for the screen share option. Let's go for the screen share option. No. Oh. Right, alright, I'll get rid of that. Maybe it's probably because I'm full screen. But when you click the screen share, anyways, if you've got PowerPoints open, you can choose the PowerPoint and that's all everyone will be able to see. You'll just share what you've got on your screen. So you don't have to have your face for however long you're going to do it. You can show them PowerPoints. If you've got pictures or diagrams, or you've got an app or a program where you can draw things, if you want to draw diagrams or write things, then you can share that. You've got the Q&A app. You can take a screen capture. This is quite handy, the cameraman app, because as people join it, you can basically just hide everything they do. So if you don't want to see anyone else's face, you don't want to hear anyone else, you just say hide it all, and that's it. Don't have to worry about that. Learned that lesson the hard way. Then you've got the control room, so that if you do want to see people's faces, or indeed you don't want to see your own face, you can switch off the camera to that particular person, you can switch off the microphone, and you can turn their volume up as well. And perhaps the most important feature, if I can find my cursor, is the Google effects. So it doesn't matter about your PowerPoints as long as you can make yourself a clown. Alright, so you can just kind of reveal yourself for the clown that you really are. So yeah, you can set all of that up before you start broadcasting. When you're ready to go, you hit start broadcast and it starts going to YouTube straight away. There's a 30-second delay between your audience seeing it and you seeing it. So maybe when you're doing the Q&A part, just say, look, I'm 30 seconds ahead of you. If you've got questions, I'll answer them at the end. That might just save a little bit of confusion. That's all there is to it. I'm just going to leave that call, leave that hangout. And if there are other people talking, they can keep that conversation going by themselves later on. So yeah, that is making a hangout. I've used it a couple of times. Guests and RSVP to say that they will be watching. They'll get a little reminder telling them that it's coming up. Yeah, alright, so let me just get rid of
Have you run it during the school day or outside of school day?
I've always done it outside of the school day, but there's nothing to stop you doing it during the school day. You could do an early morning one, 3:30, and then you could have people in the room with you, or they could be in the library watching it. It's really flexible. You can kind of do as you want with it. The problem I've always had with it is actually being there on time. Traffic, set realistic times for when you're going to do these things, because traffic is sometimes an issue, as is your other half walking in with the dog halfway through, and your dog barking.
Now, what are those icons, like blue dot?
Alright, these are just a couple of things that, they're not really, these are just plugins for Chrome. AdBlock Plus just stops me seeing lots of nonsense on my web pages. Screencastify, I'll talk about that in a
Could
moment.
Louisa Morello please go to the Year 12 office immediately? Louisa Morello?
Whole Beta Internet lets me watch British TV from Australia, and this is just to keep me focused during the day. I've put this on to stop myself going on Facebook when I'm at work, so I can actually get work done. It's called Stay Focused. You can just add that. Alright, that video is there. You can watch that. That will be available if you want to watch that later on, because that's a really brief overview. But I learned how to use Hangouts just through trial and error, giving it a go. And making screencasts, so I showed you on one of my community pages that I made a screencast. There are a few different options for making those. If you've got a Mac, the built-in QuickTime player lets you record your screen as you're doing it, which is great. It's awesome, and it's free. But you don't get it on a Windows-based computer unless you pay extra for it. Screencastify, however, is this little app for Chrome here. So I installed this, it's free, and you can record just the tab that you're on. So whatever tab on Chrome that you have open, it will only record that, nothing else. So yesterday I made a screencast of the tab when I was trying to talk about how to make a Hangout, but because the Hangout opened in a new window, you didn't see any of that. So there are some pitfalls. Or you can go with desktop, and when you hit start recording, it asks you what you want to record. Like I say, it's free, and you can upload it, like that one I made last night. You can watch it straight from the browser. You can click upload, and it will go straight to your YouTube account. You don't need to go to YouTube and then re-upload it. This is what I made with my year 11s this morning using Peardeck. And it will just sit there, it doesn't disappear until I delete it. So that's nice, it's free, and so far it's worked really well. But I know this is another option, Camtasia. Is that how you spell it? I know you've used it before, you can get that and make screencasts with that. QuickTime Player, and I don't know about Camtasia, but QuickTime Player doesn't have the embedded video in the bottom right corner. Screencastify, you've got that option, where if you want to have your face in it, you can have that on the embed webcam. If you don't want to be on there and you just want to hear yourself, you can deselect that. You can change the microphone input and how often it records your screen. 10 frames per second I think works quite nicely. Those are your options, and as you can see, it can be just 5 minutes of you waffling on about how to set up a community. You can have a PowerPoint ready to go and talk through a PowerPoint. You've got lots of options. Anything you can do on your computer that you could do in class, you can record it making a screencast, and then you can just share it with your class. So, for example, today I'm recording this. You could record your lesson, upload it to your community, and everyone who missed that lesson, if they're out on sports or excursions or camps, they can all watch it and they've not missed anything, and you don't need to worry about catching those pupils and saying, you need to do this, you need to do that. They can watch the entire lesson through your community. Or you can record what's on your screen and share it with them that way as well. So a lot of potential to do lots of different things. So that's it in terms of G+. So I'll just ask a quick question. This is through, oh no, wrong button. Where is it? Quick question. So, how do you feel now about using G+, by yourself? Do you think you could do it? Drag the dot over the thumbs up or the thumbs down, depending on what you think. Boys, please, I need to separate you. Plenty of spare seats.
Confident to do it by ourselves?
Yeah, to give that a go. Should you? How confident do you feel? If you're on over the green thumbs up, yeah, you could give it a go, make the best of it. Red thumbs up, need some more help with it. If you could make a go at it, but you're not entirely sure. Okay, yeah, that's yeah. And again, I haven't shown anyone's feelings, but if I show you responses, so you can show responses in real time. You don't have to lock it before you show the responses. So,
Where are you?
Wait until it was on the screen.
all right. So, yeah. It's fine if you're not sure. I mean, that's like a really long way of telling you how to use these things. But the videos I've made, I'm going to upload to that community I was talking about earlier. So once you sign up to G+, I'll send you a link to that community. If you want to join it, great. If you don't, that's fine. But I'll put those videos up there, and you can watch them at your leisure for future reference. Alright, so yeah, Peardeck, you've seen it used. We're using it right now. I think it's great. I'll just show you what I was doing this morning.
Okay, so you're all logged in, ready to go?
Oh, that's loud. Let me just turn that one down. So yeah, this is what I did this morning. You can see my class shows up on the left. That's what I see when I'm using it. Okay, that's what's on the projector. And then because this was using Screencastify, you can see the little red dot there for it. I could see my face. I didn't want to do that. I meant to switch that off because it's really not a particularly flattering angle. So I'll just, there you go.
In terms of fraction,
there you go. So there's the question that was on the screen. They were given a multiple choice question. They just had to choose it. So one thing about it was that some of the things I put up on the screen, the people at the back couldn't see it all that well, so something to think about. But I just took a screenshot from a PDF and put it straight into Peardeck. You can embed pictures, you can embed YouTube videos, you can put text in there, whatever you want, and then you've got the little question along there. You can't do anything about the writing that's on it, so the question there, that green writing, you can't change the colour, you can't change the font, or anything like that. It adjusts the size according to what you type. And like today, where you saw different backgrounds, that's just a Google slide that I imported into Peardeck. Then you can review it with your class.
A is the renal artery.
So yeah, you can just talk through it with your class. I actually really screwed up that question.
Lovely little fellas. Look at them, they're so cute.
So yeah.
Anyways, a study history.
This was a typed response to the question, and then come on. So this was their response. They typed it. That's what they see on the screen, but these little eyes are just for me, so that I could click on them and it'll tell me, like that one's highlighted in green there. That tells me that it was Lachlan that said that. No one else needs to see that, just me. It's really good because it keeps everything really anonymous for your class, and they can look at it, they can talk about what people have said, you can discuss it with them, but you know, alright, say, like, this bear, whoever it was, if I could pick one, not me. Alright, so this person said environment wasn't what I was looking for, and if somebody gets it totally wrong, you know that you can have a quiet word with them later on and say, alright, so I see you're having a bit of trouble with this, that, and the other thing. Maybe we could go over that, or perhaps this is something you should be looking at doing.
So when you lock the responses, it keeps it, it stores it.
Yeah, and in fact, once you've finished, you can save that entire session, so that for every question, you can save everybody's response to every question. and then review it at a later date. So if you don't have time in class, you can go back and look at it, you know, in a free period or at home, or, you know, of a weekend if you really want. The responses can be pretty long. You can type quite a lot. And yeah, there's a variety of different questions you can ask. And you can do the, like, ad hoc questions, like when I asked you earlier how you feel about G+ communities, and that's got like yes, no, true, false, thumbs up, thumbs down. So other variations on the standard multiple choice, draggable, dot, written response or numerical response. So it's really great. But like I emailed earlier in the week about it. At the moment, it's free to people testing it, like me. I've got one code left if somebody wants to use it. And yeah, you give a go to your class and see what you think. If you like it, and if you think this would be nice, there's a shared document for staff. Put your name on there. Because the more names we've got, the better justification I might have to say, Ash, here, like lots of people want to use this. Can we pay for it? Because if we get in early enough, we get a 75% discount for being the first person in the state. So there's a lot to be gained. Even if we don't, we can still get 50% discount, which is a lot. It's because what they want to charge is $4 per pupil using this.
Oh my God.
So 75% off. Dollar, yes, but 75% off for 2 years.
It's $1 cost.
Yeah, so it's still a lot of money. But I mean, how much did Wisdom cost? And how much is it being used?
Not much.
How much is it worth that money? Whereas this is something that you could use. You can't put a price on that sort of education.
They'd be mad not to just, at $1 a head, they'd be mad not to just do it regardless.
Well, that's I'm going to hopefully make a case for this. So yeah, if you like it and you like the use the idea of it.
So these essentially are slides. And do you create these slides in Google Presentation, or you create them in PDF?
This one I made myself. There's an inbuilt editor for these slides. You can put in a normal slides, it's just content, or you can make interactive slides as you go through it, or you can make a Google presentation, and when you make a new one, you can just import the slides. So if you want nice fonts or multiple pictures on a screen, you can make it up, import it in. It doesn't take long. It's just a case of click a button, choose the file. It does it all for you, and it's all there ready to go. But once it's in there, you can't edit it. That's the only thing, because it imports it as a PDF or turns it into a PDF as opposed to your presentation that you have.
So you can't go back and change your question later.
No. And, well, if it's one that you've made up like this one, I can go and I can change that. But for example, the slides I showed you today.
An imported one, you can't.
You can. You would have to. But like, yeah, today I added a couple of slides and I just re-imported the whole presentation and deleted the ones I didn't and moved the new ones in. It's a bit fiddly, but it's not as time consuming as one of the things.
Can you insert MP3 files into a slide?
Excellent question. Well, let me just find out for you. So. Sorry, it's taking a while. I'm running over. Thank you very much. Cheers. Let's see. Draggable slide. You can enter images, text, lists, and videos. You can't add just audio. But if you had audio, you could upload that to YouTube and put it in that way. It's an alternative. It's not perfect, but it is an alternative. Yeah.
You said before, Mike, when it was sort of creating the YouTube thing, that it was public and you could add the McKinnon community. Can you not make it public?
Yeah. In the box it says public, there's like a little cross in there. You just press that and it stops that. So it's only shared with those people. And you can invite just select people. And if anyone unwanted does join it, you can boot them out if you don't want to have them in there. Just trying to think of other things to do with that. Yeah. Oh, and also your videos that you make, once they're uploaded to YouTube, at first they are open to the public, but you can change that so they're either private and only you can see them, or unlisted and you can only see them if you have the web address for it. So that you don't have to let the whole world see it if you don't, because there are trolls on the internet that like to just be horrible. So yeah, that's G+ and a bit about Peardeck. Thank you very much for coming along. I really appreciate it. Does anyone have any other questions? Awesome. So that community's there. I'll put these videos up. You can watch them. If you want to add questions later on, feel free to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, man.